when I say we were broke, we were like broke, broke. And when I started cleaning, I just thought it was all right. We've got money for groceries now. We've got money for gas now. Like, you know, we can pay for our kids' baby food and diapers and things like that. It was never like, oh my gosh, I'm going to build this empire. It was just, we need to survive. And this is what we're doing to survive. And so as it started to grow, and there's a couple people in this room that helped me along in my journey, it started turning into something more beautiful. And even since those two that were in here worked for me, it's changed so much and it's become something even more beautiful. And there is a feeling that is indescribable when I can say we provide a living for 24 other people. And like, while that's a lot of pressure that falls on my shoulders, I'm really proud of that.
So I always like to give as much credit as I can to the most amazing people in the world. And I happen to be sitting next to one of the most amazing people in the world. Before we dive in, this is something which is really special for me because I wouldn't be part of the Den if it wasn't for Jen, right? Jen came to one of my events that I was running here in Daytona, and I believe you were gifted a team training.
Yeah, somebody else won it and they
Someone else,
didn't have a team. And so they gifted it to me for you
that's
to
right.
come and do team training.
That's right. And we got to talking at my event, and I'm like, oh, there's so much more to this amazing woman than just running a business. So something I don't do when I do team training, I reached out to Jen. I was like, listen, yours seem really awesome. I know I'm scheduled to do this date. Is it cool if I swing by your office? I just want to get to know you more. She's like, of course. Done. Like the moment I walked in, I'm like, this is amazing. You're amazing. I want to know all I can about you. Fast forward, I'm watching Jen being part of this Den thing. And again, like we shared before, I'm not really into the whole corporate, big surface level networking stuff. I reached out, text her. I'm like, hey, what do you think about it? She goes, it's awesome. Different than anything else. Why don't you come down as my guest? And I've never missed it except for a couple weeks ago, my first one ever. So obviously following Jen's journey, which is something I'm really excited about. And what I'm really excited about this particular training is, and why we're doing this, is we get very used to, which is beautiful, by the way, seeing the surface, right? We see Mr. Collins and what he's doing in the community. We see Jared in the community. We see Jen, but we all have a step one. We all have a day one. We all have a, hey, what was it like when we made that scary decision when I hired when my first client, when I messed up, right? And those are the universal principles that is behind this type of work, right? Because no one's getting into the cleaning business. But my goodness, especially with this woman, my job today is I'm going to try to extract as much as I can of value that's universal and applicable for all of us. Make sense? So I'm excited too. I'm here to learn just as much as anybody else. I hope I did my job well. I appreciate you. Thanks for the confidence boost. Um, so I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and today, like my whole thing with you, Jen, because we are friends, we've known each other for a while. Um, Making this more of a conversation, right? You could tell my notes are not existent. Jen's answers are not scripted. This is just a beautiful conversation as business owners, I think, are lacking for some, right? And this is really powerful. So, Jen, why don't we introduce you? So, if someone says, hey, Jen, what do you do? What's something you would share with them?
Oh my gosh. How do I narrow it down? No, you guys all know me, Jen Rodgers. I own Just Peachy Clean. I'm the founder and CEO. We've been in business as of May will be 12 years. Uh, and officially started about 14 years ago, I think, and just was an accidental entrepreneur that has turned this into something far beyond any of my dreams ever.
Wow. I love that. And it's because I asked you this question before.
Mhm.
When you first started getting into the cleaning business, what was the reason for that?
I
What
was
made
broke.
what a good motivator, right?
Yeah. So like the long story short is I worked in the nonprofit sector of the construction industry. My husband works in the construction industry. And after the housing market had its, wonderful crash, I found myself without a job. My husband had lost guaranteed 7 hours of overtime plus another 8 hours of straight time. So over the span of about a year and a half, we lost $56,000 a year in income. And I started working basically 4 different jobs. I'd get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go work at my cousin's restaurant up in Bunnell. I lived out off of 92 at the time. When I left there, I would either stay in Bunnell and do some bookkeeping work for a local construction company up there, or I would go down to Port Orange where I did sales for a company that sold toddler belts. If you wanna know what that is, I can tell you about it later. And then, I had a friend who owned a cleaning company, and they did mainly vacation rentals, and so she started working me on the weekends, and so I was doing all of that stuff at once, and she decided that she wanted to get out of the residential side and just focus on the Airbnbs as well as managing the Airbnb, so she got her real estate license and manages them and everything. And so there were like 2 clients that she was like, I would really love to just pass them on to you if you wanna pick up some more clients." And so I started cleaning for them, and, word of mouth is a beautiful thing because if you're
Yeah.
good at what you do, especially in the cleaning industry, because there's so many people out there that do it, but they don't do it well, they start to share, with other people who are unhappy with their cleaning person. And so I started picking up more and more clients, and it got to the point where I sat down with my husband, and I was like, "All right, we have to make a decision. Like, I'm getting too much to continue to take on any new people, and now I'm spread super thin because I'm still working 4 jobs." He was working 2 jobs, by the way, a full-time job and an after-hours job. And, he said, "All right, let's see if this works." And we prayed on it, and God, I feel like, has led my steps every single way. There was 1 week out of 14 years of doing this that I went, "Oh my gosh, what am I gonna do?" But because of the business that I had built, we had the money personally that we could invest back into the business, and then 2 months later paid us back. Even though, like, I had that 1 week of where I was like, "Oh my gosh, how am I gonna make payroll?" We were able to cover it, and it didn't hurt us to cover it, and then I was still able to pay the business back.
Wow. Amazing, right? Told you guys, right? Amazing. And if I may, because I really want to share something I think we've all been through. And this is why I love growth so much. And I know you do as well. When you first started, your first client, or when you and your husband had that beautiful conversation, like, let's do this for real. Did you ever think or feel that where you're at today is where you'd be?
No,
Not even close.
no. No, I didn't ever think it was gonna be a real business because when I first started cleaning, it was just under the table, which I don't recommend, IRS.
Edit.
Because,
Yeah.
you're I was just making, a couple $100 here and there. I was really paying for, like, gas and groceries. My husband and I almost lost everything, like, we had to short sell our house, we closed out a 401k to pay off his truck so we wouldn't lose trucks, like, it was he still has guys who make fun of him at work that he took peanut butter and jelly to sandwiches to work every day for, like, 2 years, and he ate them for dinner, and we got rid of internet at home, we got rid of our home phone service, cable, like, when I say we were broke, we were, like, broke, broke. And, when I started cleaning, I just thought it was, "All right, we've got money for groceries now, we've got money for gas now, like, you know, we can pay for our kids' baby food and diapers and things like that." It was never like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna build this empire." It was just, "We need to survive, and this is what we're doing to survive." And so as it started to grow, and there's a couple people in this room, that helped me along in my journey, it started turning into something more beautiful. And even since those 2 that were in here work for me, it's changed so much, and it's become something even more beautiful. And it's there is a feeling that is indescribable when I can say we provide a living for 24 other people. Like, while that's a lot of pressure that falls on my shoulders, I'm really proud of that because I've had really awful bosses and I've had really crappy paying jobs. And one of my goals was to not be that. And I feel like we are accomplishing
That is so beautiful, right?
that.
Told you it's gonna be good, guys. So exciting. I'm gonna use a word that I think you personify better than so many that I even know. This will be really relevant for all of us, right? There's a point where you are amazing at cleaning homes, product, service, but then there's that moment where you're like, I need help.
Mhm.
And then we recognize that we need another skill set. That word is leadership. And you personify leadership better than so many. Do you remember when you took on that role? When you were like, I need help, I need an employee, and what was that experience like?
Yeah, so I was pregnant with my second son,
Okay.
and I don't know how many of you guys try to clean when you're pregnant, but it's not fun.
I've never.
Yeah, don't recommend it at all.
Oh,
But it's a lot of work, and so I brought on a friend at the time, who was starting her own business and needed help just with extra finances, and so she came on as a helper. And I still like this when I say we were broke, this is again illustrating how broke we are. I worked up to 35 weeks pregnant. I gave birth at 36 weeks. I was back at work 3 weeks later. Like, because
wow.
when you're a solopreneur, like, if you're not working, you're not making money. There's no maternity leave, there's no backup plan. And so, like, um That is also one of my biggest regrets is that I didn't take off more time after he was born, but you do what you have to do.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that very, very much. And, I think one thing that I know I say this a lot with these types of conversations as you're catching your breath, right? You're like, "Billy, take it, right? Um, it's finding how we're similar, right? And in the entrepreneurial journey, it's not easy, right? As much as we use words like simplify, system, structure, right? It's what we don't see is what makes us or breaks us. It's the behind the scenes. It's not the lost sale. It's the conversation with your husband, your wife about who's paying Verizon and how. Kids are hungry, right? This is where the perseverance. This is when becoming the leader is something really powerful. The conversations we have with ourselves. I'm gonna keep going here for you,
Yeah, no, you're fine.
right? So,
I'm composed.
I mean, amazing, right? I'm trying to hold myself together, right? We're just sitting here holding each other and crying. It'll go viral, right? And I really hope that we all understand that because you all have that same story, maybe different details, but we all have that moment of like, man, I wish I would have. It would have been different if, right? And that's the beauty of our journey, right? That's that origin story. And you have you had a moment there, right, where obviously life was not easy, especially with a newborn, and we all know, right? But you still kept going. And through your perseverance, that hurdle, if you will,
Mhm.
that I'll say that obstacle, you converted to an opportunity for growth. And I mean, where you are now is amazing. So why don't we fast forward? Like, where are you now? Like, what does your operations look like, and how are things flowing? And you have to get into other details, but
Yeah, no, no. No, I feel like where we are right now is really exciting because we've grown to a point where I'm fortunate that we have 3 really great office staff, and so, like, a couple weeks ago, I was out with the flu for a week and a half. They didn't even have to call me, like, they just know what to do. We have the systems and processes, so I feel like where I came from, where it was, like, all on my shoulders. I had to answer every single phone call. I had to do every single quote. I had to go walk the houses. I had to do the QC. I still had to clean. I had to do all of that. Now we're at a point where we have those processes in place. We've documented them. We've got the SOPs, the playbooks, whatever you wanna call them, so that my business can still run if I'm not in the office, and that is a whole different level of freedom. Granted, there are numerous hours a week that I work that the office will never see because I'm working on a Sunday or I'm working at, from 10 o'clock at night until midnight or whatever. But I get to pick and choose when I want to work and the things that I want to work on, the things that light me up and the things that make me happy. And I've invested a lot of money over the last 4.5 years or so in my own personal development because, like I said, I consider myself an accidental entrepreneur. I did not ever anticipate opening a business. I don't come from a line of entrepreneurs. I don't, you know, have any experience in that and had nobody to like lend their experience to me. So, I was fortunate enough to find a coaching program that was specific to my industry, which was huge. And I was able to learn so much and build. And that gave me the drive to see what else was out there, to see what else I didn't know, to see what else I needed to learn. And so I've really been investing in the leadership side and the mindset side because that builds so much of what goes into the office side of it as well.
said anything better myself. That's amazing. So let's go back because that's obviously amazing, and that's that beautiful transition, right? Of operator slash leader and owner. Going back to that coaching program,
Mhm.
I know there was a financial investment, of
Absolutely.
course, disclosed. Do you remember that feeling?
Yeah.
Like, do you remember that feeling
Mhm.
of like, I don't know if it was an application because I've been there, right? It's like,
Mhm.
okay, I got everything filled out. Do I hit submit? You don't want someone like look at it, right? Do you remember that feeling? And then, of course, like right after and what that looked like for you.
Yeah. So, the coaching program that I was in, you had to put a down payment down and then you could do monthly
Got
payments. At the time, the monthly payment was like $200 less than what I was paying in rent. No, I'm sorry. I wasn't even paying rent. We were using a room out of my house when I first
Wow.
joined the coaching program. So I wasn't even paying rent. So it was more than I was paying in rent. And I'm I'm either a super high quick start and I'm like, all right, I'm all in, let's do it, or I'm a super big skeptic.
Mhm.
And so I kept saying, because a friend of mine kept talking to me about it, and I was like, yeah, but what do you get out of it? And she was like, what do you mean? What do I get out of it? I'm like, it's like some kind of MLM, right? Like you're gonna get something out of it. Like if I join, you get financial stuff or you get a gift or whatever. And she goes, "No, I just get to see you succeed." And I was like,
So
"Oh,
good.
okay, bye."
So good.
But I literally had my husband on speakerphone so he could hear because he's the skeptic and he's the one that researches and he does like all the things. And I'm like, I need you to listen for red flags because I tend to jump off into the deep end before I really know what I'm doing. And so he listened in and he was like, I mean, they have a 2-week money back guarantee, like where you can just get all your money back. It wasn't like a percentage off or whatever. So may as well try it. And so I did. I did not have the money. I had to put the down payment on a credit card. And I was terrified because part of what we did when we lost everything was we racked up credit card debt,
Yep.
which we had at this point paid off and we had canceled all credit cards. And so I had to open a new credit card and put it on a credit card, and that was terrifying because that felt like a snowball that happened before, and I was like, "We're not gonna do this, I'm gonna pay it off as soon as I can." And, so I paid it off, and, the from the time that I joined in September, we were running at about 18,000 a month in revenue. By December, we were at $31,000 a month. So it paid for itself in the first 3 months, 2 months, whatever that is, and that first year in there alone, we grew 131%. Since that time that I have joined, we've grown over 500%.
Unbelievable.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, the reason, guys, I asked that question, right, is obviously living testament of Jen's story, but you have to invest in yourself in your business. And there was two things that I intentionally kind of pulled out, and Mr. Miyagi did a little bit was, and her language was amazing. You had to invest in yourself first, right? It's you have to become the leader. What you do is important, clearly, but who you are will set the stage for your future. And sometimes we don't have all the resources, and it's okay. Sometimes we have to take a gamble on ourselves, and that's okay. Sometimes you have to face that fear and that uncertainty. Because believe me, when there's a big price tag, right? There is. That little story comes up. Little Jen, scared Jen, past Jen's like, are you sure? Credit card debt means this. But she took a commitment and declaration for her future. That's what leaders do. And I love that. With to get more tactical, and I know you are such an avid reader, is there one book that you feel is universal? I'm sure there's ones that are specific for your niche,
Mhm.
but is there like one personal development or business book that if it comes front of mind that is universal for business owners, you'd be like, this is a go-to or must read that had a big impact on you?
So, I'm gonna do 2.
So, yeah, of course.
One is all about systems. So if you're in the process and you're like, "I don't know what an SOP looks like. I don't know how to do that. I don't" whatever. It's One Layer Deep by Libby DeLucian. Amazing, and it's really written for any, business. It's not specific. She is a cleaning business owner who has
Mhm,
franchised her business, but she also owns SaaS, products, and she
mhm.
also does, recruiting. She has a recruiting software, like, she does a bunch of stuff, so it's really written to systemize your business and how to start from nowhere, like, this is what you do, start with Post-it notes even, like, it's super easy,
Right.
and then the other one is, actually 10x is easier than 2x.
Yep,
Yeah, I wrote that read that right, and
yep,
that's Benjamin Hardy,
and Dan Sullivan.
and yeah,
Yep,
and,
great book.
that one is really great too, also Be Your Future Self Now, but 10x is easier than 2x is it really puts it into perspective, like, all the things you have to do to 2x are way harder if you're not thinking that 10x. To think 10x, you've gotta make some sacrifices now, but you're gonna do it so much faster than you would just trying to 2x it by yourself, so those are the 2 that I recommend highly.
Brilliant, brilliant. Has anybody ever read those books, by the way? Yes.
Perfect, and One Layer Deep by Libby DeLucian, and I'm sure there is a bookstore owner in here who could help you find these
If
books.
we only had one in our group here. Yeah, guys, so just to speak to that, what I think is really powerful, and this is another of the million reasons why I was excited to speak with Jen today for all of you, and of course myself as a learning as we're talking, is look for the universal. And one of the biggest things that have helped me in my careers, plural, right? Still trying to figure out what I'm going to do when I grow up, is looking outside of your industry, right? And that's something that's really important. And that second book is the one I've read, One Layer Deep. I will literally getting it today through Stephanie. But understand, like Dan Sullivan, Ben Hardy, these guys are brilliant at systems and structure. That is legit their whole philosophy. And again, you don't have to be in any specific business.
Mhm,
These are universal principles that you can apply. Does that make sense to you guys?
mhm.
Yeah, so that's a big aha takeaway. And again, what I love about Jen, and it's actually another Tony Robbins quote: success leaves clues, right? Success does. So learning what she learned, leaning onto the mentors, whether it be in person coaching or the books, the authors, the YouTube videos that she watched to help her move through that journey. And again, to continue to ascend to where she's going, we can all benefit from, right? And that's a short circuit, right? There's a lot, and you guys hear me say this a lot. We might be in business for ourselves, but we're not in business by ourselves. You can learn a lot by conversations just in this room and certainly the mentoring.
Mhm.
So, Jen, if you were to clarify, what are two, let's go with two things right now that you're working on that you're excited about?
Training programs.
Awesome.
Really narrowing down our training programs so that when we onboard somebody new, it's just ready to go. I found that, for the last 2, 3 years, we've been really trying to hire for the office, and one of the things that I realized is we don't really train them well. Like cleaning techs, I can train all day long. I can teach somebody how to clean. It's not. We have our specific training that we go through, but it's not hard. I have never run an office before. I had worked in an office before, but I have never like led an office. I never had to train office people, and it's so much different. Like I said, so many of us go into business because we're good at something. I was good at cleaning houses. I made money at cleaning houses. But when you transition into owning a business and actually becoming the CEO of the business, and now you're having to train people underneath you in an office setting, I had no experience in that. So even in my coaching groups, one of the things that I really felt like was lacking was what do we do? We have people in the Facebook group asking all the time, "All right, I just hired my first admin. How do I train them? What are they supposed to do? Oh, I'm hiring a salesperson. What do I need to look for? What do they need to do? What do the first 2 weeks look like?" And nobody could answer them. And so I really dove into that, and I spent probably on the sales training program, it's like 15 days long. My friend and I built the bones, and I spent probably 2.5, almost 3 months building out what I wanted that to look like so that when we brought in our salesperson, it was plug and play. She just sat down, she turned on the computer, she had videos to watch, she had things to read, she had quizzes. And then there are management led parts where they come in and they've got their list of things that they have to go over. But it's not all on the office to train this person how to do their job. And I did the same thing with our office ops. And now I'm working on a scheduler one. Those are the things that I'm really excited about and that kind of fire me up because it's something that was so lacking, but it was costing my business money. Not having them, we couldn't keep somebody, but we weren't training them well. So that really came back to me.
Again, amazing, right? Like that's everything. And it's so beautiful because I don't want to overstep what Jen just said. That last part is everything. It all comes back on me. That's leadership language. It's not, well, my office manager dropped the ball and the economy is XYZ.
Why didn't they teach her this?
Why don't they teach her
Why didn't they
this?
do this with them?
That's exactly right. And that's what I believe separates two ends, yeah. Right? What separates effective leaders is we take accountability and ownership. And then, which I so love, you can't scale chaos,
Nope.
right? So if I can just quickly move into this and what Jen just shared, there are operations, there are habits and actions that you're all doing right now that you might not have to do personally or can be systemized. And the reason why we do that is not just so we can say we have systems, it's so we buy back our time, not your favorite book, right?
Yep.
Buy back our time, reallocate that time to what is in your zone of genius, right? Jen is a leader, she's a CEO. It's not in the best interest of her to take Mary, her new tenant. Like, this is how you log into your computer, right? Although it's very important, there's a system for that or a person for that. And that is so important.
Mhm.
Why I believe you're able to scale so
Yeah,
much.
absolutely.
It
And it's more
just,
effective use of the office's time. If
yes.
we're onboarding somebody and they're spending, even with our cleaning technicians, there are times that we just hired like 4 new technicians.
Yeah.
If my office manager has to sit down with every single one of them and walk them through everything that they have to do, that's a huge time waster and it's not worth what I'm paying her per hour when it could be a video that I did or a quiz or something like that.
I love that. I mean, so much, so much gem there. And just to respect the time, what I would love to do is you're not only a part of the den,
Mhm.
you are a huge part of the den and the OG, and now we're just building into now sitting as the beautiful vice president. If you had to share with the community, what is the den and why it might be interesting for them to explore if it's for them, what kind of benefits have you seen?
So I love the den because I'm not about transactional relationships. I don't want to know you just so that you do business with me, and I don't want to work with you just because you're expecting that out of me. If I, like Billy said earlier, if I refer somebody to you, it's because I know, love, and trust you, and I know you're going to take care of who I'm sending to you. So this group has been great for that because I get to know all of you guys. I get to trust you. I know if I send somebody to Dr. Bree, she's going to take very good care of them. I know if I send somebody to Sherry, she's going to treat them with the utmost respect. I don't have to worry about somebody screwing them over, which is nice. Um, I feel like in a lot of networking groups that I've been a part of, it's so much just here's my business card, here's my business card, here's my business card, and it's never about here's who I am. Here, yes, I own a cleaning business. Yes, I want to get the word out about that. That's not the most important thing to me. I'm Jen. I like to do this stuff. I love to talk business. I love to do mentorship. I love to help out wherever I can. It doesn't all revolve around JPC. I love Just Peachy Clean. That is my baby and it will always be my baby. But there's so much more that comes to me. And I want people to know that because I want you to be able to feel comfortable referring me. It's not just, oh, she owns a cleaning company. Yeah, let me send my friend to her. I guess they'll be good. I want to get to know the relationships. And I feel like we do that.
Beautiful. Right? My goodness. Well, it's not an exaggeration that I could sit in this chair for the next 6 hours and have a conversation with Jen and learn so much. But we do have a time limit on the room. So I just want to say thank you guys. Like as always, every week you guys show up and appreciate the platform and giving obviously Jen the opportunity to share a little bit about her story. Yes,
Can I say one thing?
yes, you can.
So Just PG Clean's been cleaning my house now for I don't know, maybe even a year.
A while
It's
now.
been a while.
Yeah.
And so I'm on the flex program, so I get different cleaners all the time that are like new and in training and stuff, and it's been great. And I kind of regularly will say, so what's it like working for Jen? Because I'm always
Now I'm afraid.
you know, literally without a doubt, no hesitation, she's amazing.
Yeah.
Which I think is a huge
And they don't know you're my friend. Like
They don't, no.
they have no idea that you know me, or that we're connected in any way or anything like that.
She's amazing. So grateful.
Yeah.
So
Getting my house clean for a long time for you all.
Mhm.
But having the opportunity to be side by side with Jen cleaning, it's incredible to see how far you've come so fast. I know Bella, we both I got a little emotional.
Aw, thank you.
Aw.
But the only way that I have grown so fast is because I invested in the coaching, but also I took myself out of the field. I stopped doing the thing that we did and I started working on the business. Now, in my case, it was because I broke my collarbone and I couldn't clean. But however you choose to get out of your field is how you choose to get out of your field. But I couldn't have scaled my business if I didn't step back from the cleaning. There is no way that I could have done both.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Big impact leader here. This is awesome.
But I will say, as someone that is starting up and is firing up their business and a solo entrepreneur, it's really, really admirable to see how far you've come, but also the way you talk about this process. And now you have faith in God, you have faith in your family, your husband that has supported you. So, yeah, I don't know you that well, but very, very excited. So,
Thank you.
Great share,
you.
Levi. Thank you. But love you, Jen. Thank you.
It make me cry again.
Guys, thank you so much. Enjoy your week. I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you, Chris. My right hand man there. Next week we are back at Copper Bottom to give our love and support for Jeremy and Jenny. But thank you guys.